Mr. Rooker, if you could introduce yourself and your colleague and then make whatever presentation you'd like to make.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Richard Rooker. I'm the Circuit Court Clerk of Davidson County. With me today is Michelle Sawyer, who's our Administrative Services Manager, and Miss Randy Simrick, who is also in our office with us, is here today. Mayor, I'd like to once again thank our employees who do a great job with dealing with the public and helping attorneys in the courts and the things that they do. Their customer service is very good, and they do a wonderful job on a daily basis, and we'd just like to take a moment to thank them for their efforts throughout this past year. Of course, Mayor, you know, with the domestic violence assessment that we went through last year, we're seeing a lot of changes in how we handle orders of protection and domestic violence matters. We now have order of protection form packets that are on the website, so that allows individuals in the Gene Crow Advocacy Center and individuals who have access to the website to fill out the paperwork online. They don't have to print forms. They don't have to do any of those things. It's kind of a cumbersome process for them. So all of that is now online, and they can fill those forms out online. And hopefully, within the next 2 or 3 months, that whole process will become paperless. And working with Whitney McFall, we are looking for all of that information with electronic signatures to be emailed to each agency that needs that particular information, including the Sheriff's Department. So the only place where the paper would exist would be in our office once the service of process is completed and once we have all the information back to our office. Also on that form, interpreter request options are on there so that the Sheriff's Office, the courts, and the people who need to know that an individual may need an interpreter, we know that before they get to the courtroom that day. So we can have that already set up, ready to go, so that we don't lose any time or draw the process out any more than absolutely necessary. We are also in our office preparing and mailing domestic violence letters that go to respondents in cases, and the letter is actually produced by the police department. We're just mailing them to the respondent to let them know that an order of protection has been granted against them and that they would need to follow the court orders, that whether it be a stay-away order, whether it be just a complete order of protection, that they are to have no contact with the victim in this case. So that letter is helping us a great deal. We are in the midst of cross-training all our employees on order protection matters, and I believe there's actually some training being provided for employees of the courts and the clerk's office and the police department that all the agencies are participating in, just to make our staff more sensitive to the needs of the victims in those cases. Our CaseLink database center that attorneys can access and the public can access, it's a subscriber-based system, is now going to a mobile app where it can be done either by cell phone or on their iPhones or their iPads. We also will be adding for attorneys in their office, if anything is filed on their case, particularly in our court, they will get an email notification that a specific, whether it be a motion, a subpoena, or an answer to a lawsuit, they will get an email notification that lets them know that has been filed in their particular case. And Mayor, we've talked for a couple of years now about work comps. That comes to us in July of this year, where we will no longer be filing any workers' comp cases in the circuit court. They're all heard at the state by administrative law judges. That is going to decrease our revenue close to $500,000 a year in filing fees in our office. So just a point there. We've talked about it for several years, but it's finally gotten here. Yes, sir. We did estimate we would turn over $3.2 million in excess fees. We feel comfortable we'll be able to do that by the 1st of July of this year. We're happy to be able to do that, but it's getting harder and harder as our filings go down, as ticket writing is going down. The ability for us to generate revenue is falling. We hope to in this next year establish electronic filing for attorneys. We're working with the AOC and trying to develop a statewide system, but hopefully within this year we will have that accomplished, and attorneys can sit in their office and file lawsuits in an electronic format. As far, Mayor, as the 3% reduction for our office, it would come to $95,000 a year. That would be 2 full-time employees for us in the Traffic Violations Bureau and the Traffic Warrant Office. You know, we've been able to manage in years past with a reduction of staff. We're getting to a point now where it's really causing us issues if we have people out, vacation, sick time, whatever the situation is. So if we lose 2 more full-time employees in that division, it's going to be kind of tough for us to maintain our performance in that particular office. Other than that, Mayor, we're happy to be here, and we'll answer any questions that you may have.
With the removal of workman's comp cases and the apparent decline in numbers of traffic tickets written, does that correspond to reduced workloads, or does that, I mean, if you're not doing workman's comp anymore,
Right.
what happens to those positions?
Well, those positions, as time goes on, we have already decreased the size of our staff in circuit. As people leave, we just will not replace those positions. Work comp was a fairly easy process for us in the mornings. They usually were settlements. Attorneys would come in and just file the settlement, pay the fee for filing the settlement. We put it away because it was already done. So as far as the actual workload for a work comp case, it wasn't that much. But as time goes on, yes, sir, we will definitely see a reduction in staff in those offices.
Okay. And has there been any, in terms of the domestic violence work, I mean, you mentioned the things that you're doing with order of protections. Now, one of the circuit court judges is spending more time on misdemeanor criminal cases.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And that is then handled by the criminal court clerk's office, right?
Yes, sir. The criminal court clerk's office is docketing all of those criminal cases that they have. The habitual traffic offenders, we're in the process, that has been going to the criminal court clerk's office. We are in the process of working with Mr. Gentry and the district attorney's office to transport those back to circuit court, and they will be filed in circuit court as they are civil cases in nature. But we have basically a full-time circuit judge that is hearing mostly DUI cases.
If you have a circuit court judge hearing DUIs and you got the domestic violence stuff, is there any way that frees up an employee of yours to help with the criminal court clerk's office with their work?
We would have to have them trained specifically to be able to work the criminal court cases. And none of our clerk. But yes, sir. Actually, we don't have an in-court clerk in the courtrooms anymore. We did away with that several years ago. Most of the cases, like in domestic cases, the domestic judges set their own dockets and they clerk their own dockets, and we just get the orders and the information from there. But we could make arrangements to help the criminal court clerk's office if necessary.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, you get a request to add here, and then
Sure.
there's a little reduction here.
Sure.
And it seemed that if you put them together, it'd all wash out.
It'd all wash out.
Yeah.
And if Judge McClendon were in a position, and we will be able to help her docket these habitual offender traffic offenses, we will help her docket those offenses. But we would have to have an employee that actually received that training from the criminal court clerk's office to fill in and help.
Greg? Nothing. Rich? Any help on revenues be appreciated.
I think we're doing the best we can, Mr. Allen. Actually, I think we reduced that to $2.5 million this year. We'll do our best to get to that point, or maybe even a little more.
I know you will.
Well, thanks for your great work. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.